Next is the warrior spirit. Some people call it killing spirit. There's lots of different names for it. Really the idea with warrior spirit, you're talking about the different commitment levels in a fight. And it's really more of a spectrum. At the bottom of the spectrum, of course, we have play. And it ranges all the way up. At the top of the spectrum, you have kill. In between, it's play, hurt, injure, maim, and kill. For those who don't know what maim is like a permanent injury. You rip a guy's eyeball out, crush it on the ground, they have a tough time fixing that. Injury is fixable, maiming is permanent damage, and obviously killing is the ultimate permanent damage. Now in between there, so these are the levels of commitment. If somebody's trying to kill you, you can't afford to be at a lower commitment level. Even if you were superior in fighting skill, and you're fighting somebody that has much lower skill, but you're just playing with them, and you're not taking any vital shots, and they happen to slip through just once at a vital shot, you're dead. So you don't have the luxury, if somebody's trying to kill you, you don't have the luxury of being at a lower level of commitment. That being said, you want to be at or above the commitment level of the other person. Otherwise, you'd be at a disadvantage. So in an emergency situation, if you're ambushed in the streets, something's happening, you have to, because of time, you have to come in fully committed and then bring it down to whatever level they're at. If somebody jumps you and they're just trying to injure you, then you can just function at main level and not be at a disadvantage. If somebody jumps you and they're just trying to hurt you, then you only have to be at injure level to avoid being at a disadvantage. From the standpoint of training, most people when they're training want to be all hardcore. They're just trying to hit each other. Really, they're playing somewhere in their hurt, reach, or range. Philosophically speaking, that's a problem, because when you're training, you need to be able to experiment. You need to be able to try stuff. You need to be able to explore things. How likely are you to try exploring new stuff if you're afraid you're going to get your nose busted? Or if you're afraid you're going to lose your teeth? Right? You're not going to be trying any new stuff if you're afraid of getting broken. So when we're training, very, very critical. When you're doing your chi sao, we're doing our training stuff with each other, the training should be, most of the time, somewhere in the play range. And sometimes, we get a little vigorous, we kind of push it in the hurt, but not usually. Usually, most of our training is in the play zone. That allows us to experiment. It allows us to find thousands of different nuances you never would have discovered before, because you're always fighting for your life covering your head, right? If your training partner and you both stay calm and focused and keep the training level in the play range, now you can experiment with lots and lots of derivations. You can try new things. You can take things that you've seen drills for in your practice. You can take pieces out of the forms and you can try to figure out how to make them flow in a flowing lifetime. And then you make habits out of that. You find the things that do work, you work them over and over and over again, and you make a habit out of that. It gets into your muscle tendon memory, into your reflexes, in your coordination. Then you can take up the speed and commitment at any level once it becomes a part of you. But if you're always fighting at hurt and injure, you're never going to learn all of these other tools. That's a huge, huge difference between the way we train and the way a lot of martial arts train is they're usually all, oh, we have to be intense because that's where it is on the street. You have to be able to be intense when it's required. But if you're intense in class, you're ripping off your partner because they're not getting a chance to experiment. And then they're going to be doing the same thing to you, and you're not going to get a chance to experiment. And so you don't get a chance to learn new tools. The average street fighter has, what, 2 or 3 different things that they're good at. They practice over and over and over again, and that's all they know. Okay? Most martial artists, they've got a couple of dozen techniques, and that's really all they know. They practice over and over again. They've got a very limited toolbox. It's kind of like the general contractor going up to your house to build your house, and they've got like this little kid's hammer, and they got a little screwdriver and little pliers. That's their toolbox, right? They got 3 things. I want you guys to take the time to experiment and learn and find all of these nuances, all these derivations, all these different pieces, so you're like the big snap-on tool tray guy. And you back end of a great big massive tool van with 50,000 tools in it. And then you can adapt to whatever the situation is. But you'll never get there if you're always fighting for your life, trying to avoid getting your throat smacked, your nose busted, your teeth chipped. So you have to, for respecting yourself and respecting your training partners, your Kung Fu brothers and sisters, you got to keep that training level down in the play range so everybody can experiment and learn. Because there's not much learning going on up in these ranges. These are getting into more actual live fighting ranges. And those are fine if you're forced to have to fight on the street or in whatever situations, but you want to take some skill with you. And you'll never get the skill to take with you if you haven't spent a lot of time experimenting in that play range. Questions? All right, the next one is killing the master with unruly movement. What is that? Killing the master with unruly movement. Randomness. Okay? So many martial artists, so many fighters, they do the same things over and over and over again. How many times you watch Taekwondo? How many times do they do this? Right? And then off of one of those, they'll throw a kick. Over and over and over again. And it's like, oh, that's good. You know, hook the kick, throw them on their head, you know what's coming. And so, to be a good fighter, you should be a lot more random, a lot more varied. If all of a sudden I got kidnapped, got whisked off to Asia, and I was going to be in a death match and didn't have a choice, but I got to choose the background of who I was going to have to fight against for my life, I would pick Taekwondo, right? Over somebody who knew nothing, because somebody who knows nothing is at least going to be random. But some of the arts, they're so predictable, it's like, you know, you're yawning while you're moving in to take care of it. So killing the master with unruly movement, variety, change. The last one we're going to talk about tonight is shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. How many people when they're fighting, they try to do all of this stuff, all their boxing movement, right? They're taking these round shots, thinking, what they're thinking is they're going to try to get that whipping momentum off on the outside. But if you're using good footwork, you just cut right through that. You'll hit them 3 times before their attack makes it around. Questions? All right, so that's the first 1/3 of 27 principles. We'll do 2 more of those in this series, and it goes a bit.